So, like, rather than blaming, oh, it's the algorithm,
Right.
maybe think about, oh, what are your kids tuning into? Or
Right.
maybe they need to be monitored more. Maybe they need to be taught some street knowledge. I don't know.
Snapchat drug deals. I don't like where this is going. They're facing some lawsuits alleging that their algorithm is connected to teens doing drugs. Quality people, this is the quality life, and that's a life that leads you closer to Christ. Make sure that you fight for the algorithm, because we are on a mission to spread practical religion. Amen. Guys, you just can't make this stuff up. And honestly, social media can be used for great good, and that's what we try to utilize our platform for. But there's a lot of nefarious activity that is also going on. And here is just an example.
Only on Fox 11 now tonight, Snapchat is facing dozens of lawsuits alleging the social media giant based in Santa Monica has an algorithm responsible for connecting teens to drug dealers. Fox 11's Hal Eisner is here now with more. Hal.
No,
That's crazy. Like, what?
It's like, oh, their algorithm like purposefully connects the teens to the drug dealers. I'm not so sure about that, but the fact
I have
that
my doubts.
But the fact that things like this that you're about to see are going on, kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
This right here is the
Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's wild. I haven't been on Snapchat since like middle college.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy to see there's a whole lawsuit going on with them.
Yeah, I get occasional Snapchats from a couple of my friends, but like that's it. And otherwise, I'm just not on the platform.
Standard version of a lawsuit filed back in October. It says things like this. Despite Snap promoting and portraying Snapchat as a goofy app for kids to use and send each other silly pictures, the suit says it's known that a common use is an open-air drug market. The suit sets out to put a dent in that.
We're suing over the non-speech behaviors that endanger children on these platforms.
Sam Chapman's one of 65 families suing Snapchat, not over free speech, but the system's algorithms, which Chapman claims have connected young people like his son Sammy with drug dealers, and in too many cases to their untimely deaths. Sammy died in 2021.
The llawsuit basically calls out the algorithms that...
Yeah, I think that was I guess that was implied. Because he was connected through Snapchat to these drug dealers, he must have died from like an overdose or something. That wasn't explicitly mentioned.
They use to drive drug dealers to our children.
This is not a class action suit, but 65 individual lawsuits served on Snap Incorporated Tuesday night.
Now that sucks.
Dang, 65.
Yeah. And I mean, there's all these conspiracy theories, and it's also been proven in the past that, the government, they'll encourage, drug deals to happen, and they won't stop drug dealers sometimes, even if they know exactly what they are and what they're doing, because it low-key stimulates the economy. So, and that could be at play through Snapchat now, which is kind of wild to think about. But 65 lawsuits, that's not a small amount.
The families want algorithm changes.
Sounds like they're going to be settling a lot.
To allow child monitoring software so parents can protect their kids drawn to colorful drug menus like this one.
Look at that. So that's like a menu where you can order drugs, and it has like codes down basically that the kids know, but that the app won't pick up as like, okay, this is like nefarious activity that's going on. So everything's kind of in code. I mean, it's the same thing. Like when you're on the streets, you have code names for different things so that you don't get quote unquote caught.
Yeah.
And more.
Drug dealers use symbols, emojis to advertise that they are selling drugs.
Mark Berkman is with the Organization for Social Media Safety, who, along with Chapman, say special emojis are serving as a dark language to connect kids with drug dealers like that plug.
That means plug me in.
Plug typically...
Yeah, I've seen the plug.
That's hilarious that guy said it that way.
Plug me in.
Because, yeah, that was a huge thing when I was in college. Like, I got to find the plug. Who's the plug?
Yeah,
like, we used it for everything. It's like, are you going to be the plug? And it could have been referring to, do you got the ox? And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is getting a little too crazy. But yeah.
It can mean that someone is a drug dealer.
Those emojis are a way to communicate without having to put the words on the screen.
Exactly. So people, children and drug dealers are using the emojis so they do not get caught by the social media platform.
The lawsuits are just another salvo in the fight against fentanyl.
This is 65 people with a lot of tragedy in common, and one platform that was the gun, if you will, that shot the fentanyl bullet at our children.
Less than an hour ago,
Fentanyl's
the
no
parent
joke.
company of Snapchat responded to our request for comments, saying, while we don't typically comment on active litigation, unfortunately, this amended filing is riddled with false claims about how the Snapchat app works. Our ongoing efforts to aggressively combat drug activity on our platform and shut down drug dealers and our team members' statements. We remain deeply committed to doing our part to fight this urgent crisis. That from Snap Incorporated.
And I'm assuming they want to see more regulation.
I mean, yeah, that's enough of that. Well, I mean, it Snapchat does have a point, because it's like, how are you going to prove that the algorithm is responsible for causing these deals?
Yeah, because like
You can't
you
necessarily
can't
prove it.
you can't like control the algorithm. Like the algorithm shows you what you look for, you know?
Right.
It shows you what you like. So it's like,
Well, yeah. So it's like like the way YouTube works is you don't even have to be subscribed to people anymore.
Yeah.
Like if you watch a certain person,
Or-
when next time you pull up that homepage, if you've made your profile on YouTube and you're signed in, it's gonna keep showing you the videos that you click on, or videos
like
from
that.
creators
Mhm.
like the videos that you click on. And YouTube has so much data now that it knows what creators are like, or what the overlapping audience is, and they're constantly testing stuff, and so they can put stuff in front of you that you don't know that you'll like, but it already knows that you like, because it's building a profile of you. And so the same thing's probably happening with Snapchat. Is like, these kids get on this app and they keep following people with like plug emojis, or they keep doing things in a certain pattern, and Snapchat's just feeding them the same sorts of patterns.
Yeah. So like rather than blaming, oh, it's the algorithm,
Right.
maybe think about, oh, what are your kids tuning into? Or
Right.
maybe they need to be monitored more. Maybe they need to be taught some street knowledge. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So as elders of Gen Z, we are going to pose this question, and this question is: should we let our youth utilize social media? So I think we should, but I think there's a bigger issue at play, and it's the fact that we're not raising very discerning young people. And one of the big things is kids are being targeted with a lot of different ideology that is conflicting, traditional norms at a younger age. But ironically, we're not pouring wisdom into our children until, it's almost like till it's too late, basically. When it's crunch time, they're like, no, like, this is actually what you should be doing. This is actually the way that you should think. This is actually the wise thing. Instead of the reverse, is trying to pouring in to them as young as possible, making them wise so that they are discerning when they do face things out in the world. And so that actually gets us in to our first point, is Gen Z. We need to reverse our values as a generation. Like, a lot of our values are upside down, like we talked about yesterday. And our focus needs to be on, godly things, more godly things, and ideally focused on Christ. But a lot of our ideas are just spread out, and so everybody is looking at different things, and so of course there's not going to be any unity, and that's a dangerous road if we continue this generation to generation. And so we're here to say we need to reverse our values, and we have a Bible verse, and this is 2 Chronicles 7:14. You want to read that, Kenya?
If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
Amen.
Yeah, so why did you choose that verse, Kenya?
I just feel like it sums up the whole video. You know, I think it would change the generation if we looked at it from a place of humbling ourselves first, seeking God first, repenting and changing from our old ways. Like, I think that's would change everything.
Right, yeah. So my biggest thing is like, yeah, coming humbly to the throne of grace and attempting to work together, like I say all the time, to climb the mountaintop up to Jesus. I think that's really the biggest thing. I'll say that every single day on this platform, in every single segment if I have to. But it's like we really got to be humble and we really got to work with people and not necessarily shame them. Well, like shame is good in a sense. You should shame people, but you don't do it in this like condemning and spiteful way. You do it in a loving way to where you can say, hey, like, yeah, I'm not down with this behavior, but let me kind of help you, let me guide you up this mountain because I want you to become more like Christ as I'm trying to become more like Christ as well. And so that's why I say like our values are, you know, backwards and upside down because nobody's working towards unity. Nobody's working to meet people at the top of the mountain. Everybody's working on, you know, proving whatever it is they got going on as being the best thing. And turns out that everybody's focus is actually off. So our second point, we must pour wisdom into the youth earlier. And I hinted at that a little while ago when I said, yeah, a lot of these parents are
Not parenting.
not parenting, or these kids aren't getting, you know, poured into, or they're not getting wisdom poured into them at a young age, and they're being targeted at a young age. And so their discernment is off. And when you're a child, that is when you're the most malleable and the most impressionable. And it's really a shame that, you know, a lot of these kids grow up and they think that some of this stuff that's evil isn't evil. And it's because when they were so impressionable, they were being fed, you know, a lot of lies and a lot of, you know, ideology that wasn't going to be beneficial for them to make wise decisions. And a lot of times, in a lot of cases, their parents weren't there to, you know, protect them and be their covering. And so,
Yeah, like something like I want to instill in future kiddos would be like something my dad would do. Like we would watch movies and then he would use the movie as a lesson. So
Right,
like he would
yeah.
like pause it and be like, okay, this is why you should do this. This is why you
Right.
should not do this. That way, like it's so fun, you know.
yes, but you get the moral of the story
Yeah,
out of it. Yeah.
exactly.
And that, yeah, that's what's missing because a lot of things in our culture now is like based on following your heart and how you feel rather than extracting a lesson that is going to help you enhance your life long term. It's more about the short term self gratification. And that is actually doing the inverse, is very harmful to you long term. And that's why a lot of people are struggling now. So, our third point. And our last point is we must keep alert to evil that tries to creep into our societies. And I mean, that's just it. It's like we have to keep alert. We have to be vigilant on these different ideologies that come. They may sound good, but at the core of it, what is it? What is it pointing towards? Is it pointing upward towards Christ, or is it pointing, you know, downwards in a Luciferian way? And this is the Bible verse that we want to leave you with. Discipline yourselves, keep alert like a roaring lion. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around looking for someone to devour. I mean, the devil's always on the prowl. He's always going to introduce, you know, ideologies and different ideas that may seem like they're good ideas, may seem like they're unifying, but at the heart of it, it's bringing a lot of division and a lot of, hate and evil into the world. Hey, but we want to know what you think about this. This has been a fun time. If you're catching this on the replay, you're going to want to watch this video that's right in front of my face. But until next time, don't be serve the Alpha
And the
Omega.
Omega.
Like for the algorithm.